I truly appreciate it. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nancy Good Talalas. I'm the mom of two. I'm a Girl Scout leader for the past 4 years, a former Boy Scout leader. I taught the Title I program in an elementary school for 4 years. There's a lot of fours going on here. I also am the author of the children's safety book, My Private Places. I created a curriculum called Prevention Through Education for the kindergartners, and I produced the Spread the Word, Knowledge is Power video. Today, I sit before you as a mom, but also as an advocate for the safety of children. My passion to help protect children against abuse began about 13 years ago. My son at the time was entering Catholic school at the height of the sexual abuse scandal in the church. And I wanted to teach him, I wanted to empower him, but I didn't want to scare the bejeebies out of him. So I thought about it, and what I did was I wrote and I illustrated a simple children's book to help protect him against abuse. And I shared it with a few of the parents, and a parent shared statistics with me, statistics that I was horrified to hear. I could not even believe it. So when I got home, I looked them up online, and there they were. 1 out of 4 girls, 1 out of 6 boys would be sexually abused before they turned 18. 90% of the time, it was a family member or a family friend, someone the child knew and trusted. A male's year of greatest risk for being a victim of sexual abuse is age 4. That was the age my son was. I thought I would throw up. The female's year of greatest risk for being abused is 14. And children with disabilities, our children with disabilities are even at greater risk of being abused. I knew then the magnitude of the problem. And as a mom, I knew I had to do something to help protect these little ones from ever being abused. My focus then became writing a proactive curriculum for kindergartners, which included a teacher's manual and a parent's guide. And then, after the Sandusky abuse at Penn State came to light, I decided to produce a YouTube video where I had children of all backgrounds and disabilities speaking the lines of the children's book, empowering them, children talking to other children. Some of the kids were 3 all the way up to the age of 14, but their message was powerful, and they listened. It's now in 40 countries. Children need to be taught. During the 2 years of doing this videoing, I had the great opportunity of speaking to so many absolutely powerful parents who had their children participate in the video. And so many of these parents, I have to share with you, confided in me their personal experience of abuse. After hearing this, I can tell you that these statistics are right on. Their stories added fuel to my fire, making my resolve even greater to do all I could to protect our children against abuse. You know, I wish I could go out there and tell you that the typical sex offender is 5'6", fat, bald, wears nothing but a raincoat, but I can't. There is no typical sex offender that we can identify. They can be tall, they can be short, they can be powerful. They can be young, they can be old. They can be rich, they can be poor, they can be middle class, and they can belong to any race, creed, or color. Recently, the USA Today published the largest sting operation out of New York City of pedophiles. Among the 70 men and 1 woman that was arrested, one was a former police chief, a rabbi, a Boy Scout leader, a Little League baseball coach, and a paramedic. There is no typical sex offender. What I can tell you is the average offender has 260 victims. 260 victims. And then some of the residual effects we all see here in our society today: high school dropout rate, teen pregnancy, depression, alcohol and drug addiction, and in too many cases, suicide, collectively dimming that bright light of potential of so many in our society. According to Dr. Mace Knapp, Nevada State Prison psychologist. The serial killer has the same personality characteristics as the sex offender against children. According to Child Lures Prevention, most abusers groom their victims by psychologically manipulating them into a trap that leaves them powerless. This can take place over a week, a month, or years. But what I found the most disheartening of all the information I learned were the statistics that show that a child who's been abused has to tell the average of 7 adults before they're believed. Can you only imagine that little child who's been abused having the tenacity, the strength, and the courage to continue telling their story until they're heard, not once or twice, but 7 times, only to find out that 90% of the time, the convicted pedophiles are arrested again for the same offense after they're released from prison. Makes one pause and wonder why, with a 90% repeat rate, are the pedophiles even released back into the communities? That's the million-dollar question. The incarceration, release, and rearrest of pedophiles really is the elephant in the room, one that needs to be addressed. Child sexual abuse is now referred to as the silent epidemic. It's time to end the silence and the epidemic. We have the power to do so. We do have the power to do so. One thing all pedophiles do have in common is opportunity. So we must do all we can to eliminate their opportunity by education and by awareness. The more aware that we are, the more aware our children are, the more aware our communities are, the less power the pedophile will have. Many parents today have to work 1 or 2 jobs just to make ends meet. Some families have both parents working. 1/3 of our children are being raised in a single-parent home. Pedophiles are known to target children being raised in a single-parent home, or where a parent is physically or emotionally absent. Now, more than ever, it takes a village to raise our children. It takes stay-home parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, older brothers and older sisters, storekeepers, the mailmen, and youth-serving facilities to step up and be the watchful eye for the safety of our children. There holds great power in knowledge. We have a wealth of information in knowing when a convicted pedophile has been released, where they live, and a photo ID of them. Remember, 90% of the time, the pedophile is arrested again for the same offense. Until the problem with the repeat offending by pedophiles is addressed and corrected, the safety and well-being of our children must not be compromised. It's a public safety issue. Because of the aforementioned, I believe allowing information about sex offenders, including their names, addresses, and photos, for broadcast on the City of Boston's public television station will be a service imperative to the safety of our children. The safety and the innocence of our children must be paramount. According to Darkness to Light, as many as 400,000 babies born this year, 400,000 babies born this year will be sexually abused by the time they turn 18, unless we do something to stop it now. We have the power. We can do it. We cannot afford to let the cause of these statistics see the safety of yet another generation destroyed. It's time for the sexual abuse of children to become a front burner issue. It's time for the awareness and education now. My hope is that in my lifetime I will see our children emboldened and empowered with lessons about personal body safety repeated in school, in youth-serving organizations, houses of worship, community events, awareness badges for our Boy Scouts and our Girl Scouts. But can you only imagine the impact that a public service commercial would have for awareness if we had people that the kids look up to, like, Gronk or Tom Brady, Mark Wahlberg. Let's see, who else did I write down here the kids would know? Taylor Swift, Big Papi. Did I mention Big Papi? Tom Brady. People that the kids look up to and respect. Can you imagine them sending off the messages to the kids? You are smart. You are strong. Listen to your instinct. Reaffirming no one should ever ask to see or touch your private places. Can you imagine if that's repeated over and over on TV and in other media venues? The awareness would be so wild. It would be wonderful. The child will see it. The parent will see it. But more importantly, the pedophile will see it. And the pedophile will then know that their lures, lies, secrets, and manipulation will no longer be believed. Perhaps then we will see an end to the silence. And this epidemic will be marked in history as one we vanquished in our lifetime. We have the power to do it. For where there is light, the darkness can no longer be. Thank you so very much for letting me have this opportunity to speak to you today. May God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you.